Oh, oh
Just
yeah.
getting off.
See the four-way war. It even said this is getting complicated now. Um, let's take a look at Spain real quick. Screw what I was saying. Yeah, you have the Carlists who are trying to restore the I think the Bourbons to the throne of Spain. You have the Spanish Directory, which is the fascists, um, which is uh, I mean, just look at this. This is very complicated. But if what we're seeing right now is any indication, it looks like the democratic government of Spain will come out on top here, which I think at the end of the day is going to be good news for us. I don't know if the Spanish are going to continue to be active after the war. It looks like they are going down a route where they are asking the Soviets for help. I don't know how that's going to end up looking. Um,
So did it look
but
like
that's kind of fun.
the fascists in Spain didn't bring Franco to the fore?
I don't know what happened there, really. If I could look at their tech tree here, it looks like, uh, yeah, it looks like they might have just chosen to not. Yeah, okay, here it is. Upon starting this, Franco could become a general, but it looks like they went with another option, which means that they're going with the Phalanx Ascendant. I don't know what that means. I didn't spend a ton of time with Spain, but it looks like they're going a different fascist route than they did historically, which is confusing, but that's fine.
It's it's fun if you look at their flag, the red and black flag that
Hmm.
the CETA popped up, where they actually have a fasces, like the bundle of sticks.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you don't
um,
often see that
yeah.
outside of Italy, anyways.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm missing research now. There's so much happening at once. Okay. I'm gonna go with a concentrated industry. I don't know why you wouldn't ever do that. There's no reason to ever do dispersed industry. Don't do that. Amelia Earhart, no! Um, the only interesting thing that comes out of the Amelia Earhart thing is there's a chance that she doesn't disappear, and then she can later become an ace for the Americans. An ace is basically a squadron general in the game terms that can affect their stats. It's not huge, but it's kind of cool. And just have a female pilot going up against the probably the Japanese in that case. But anyway, as I was saying about the divisions a few minutes ago before I was so rudely interrupted by the anarchists and the fascists over there, is that I have two division templates for infantry. One is an infantry division that has 3 battalions in it, and that it is considered an infantry division. And this other one has 6 infantry battalions in it, so it's bigger, but it was considered a non-elite unit. It was considered a garrison unit. And I'm kind of confused about what the deal with that is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like I
Okay.
wonder why they did that. Like maybe it's just they meant you to populate it with lesser equipment. If I
Uh,
understand how this game works.
I don't know. Well, a lot of the divisions at the start of the game are based on what real divisions look like at the time. So maybe these are more like peacekeeping police forces, like military policing forces. I'm not sure. I don't know a ton about Manchukuo at the time. All I know is that did you ever see the Korean movie The Good, the Bad, and the Weird?
No, haven't heard of that actually.
Oh, it's like a Korean styled western that takes place in Manchuria around the time of the Japanese occupation, and basically there's Koreans working with the Japanese government who find out that I think there's like some treasure out there in the Manchurian wilds, and so these 3 different groups of people all start fighting each other in a race to try to get to it. It kind of is like the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it's based in like this kind of period.
That's interesting.
I like it a lot. It's pretty good. Um, it's got a really cool chase scene through the desert that's very Mad Maxy. Yeah, so 5 equal peoples. The days in which one people could rule supreme over all other people is over. Manchukuo will be a new type of nation in which 5 people, Russians, Japanese, Mongolians, Koreans, and Manchus, will live together in harmony.
Wait, hold up. Those weren't the 5 people.
Yeah, I was like, this seems a little bit wrong.
Wait,
Maybe it's
hold
because
up.
it's because I'm in Manchuria, and those are the people in Manchuria, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure they're
So
just because I'm like, wait a second.
five equal peoples, but not your people. Han
That's funny.
Chinese, get out of here. I guess this is not a Manchukuo for the Han. I'm sorry. I would make it 6 equal peoples if I could. I'm trying to be a very benevolent, autocratic ruler. Okay, I'm gonna unpause now.
Hmm.
What do you
That's
mean, uh-huh?
that's funny. Just like I'm like,
This,
oh yeah, here, like they included this history. Let's talk a bit briefly about the 5 minutes. Sun Yat-sen, what's going on? And just like Russians and Japanese. Yep.
I mean, I guess it tracks for Manchukuo because that's who's living in Manchukuo at the time.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a fun twist. I wasn't
yeah.
expecting that, so I did like a double take on the screen. Like, hold on.
Oh boy. Hell of a thing, isn't it? Hell of a thing. I'm going to speed up to 5 speed, actually, to see if we can get things going here. Oh! Oh! Oh.
There they go.
Yeah. Uh, are you seeing something right now? Can you see what the Japanese are doing?
Um, no.
The Japanese are flooding into my country, and they're starting to go fully against the border with the communists in the Soviet Union. I don't know why I just refer to them as the communists. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to take a look real quick at what they're doing. And, oh, they're building forts in my country. That's very nice of them. They've actually been doing several things to me that I didn't even realize. They're doing things that are adding factories. I think that might be for them. But they're adding infrastructure. They're adding factories for them, which I think is a good thing for me because if I rebel, then I can just grab their factories and make them my
Actually,
factories.
no. If you check the light factory, said let's say Liaotong, it tells you no go hover over it again. It tells you where they did it.
Yeah.
In I'm pretty sure that's your territory.
Uh,
It's hard to
well,
see.
yeah, it is my territory, but if you go back and let me pull their thing up again. So you can see here it says expand Manchurian railways. It says effect and then Manchukuo, which means it's happening to me. But if it doesn't say that, then it's happening to them. So they're building factories for them in my territory.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So right now, because I'm still a subject, they're building land forts all across my border with the Soviet Union, which is cool and good as far as I'm concerned, because I don't want the Soviet. Oh boy, don't drag me into a war with the Soviets before I can leave, Japan. I don't want that. I don't want that, Japan.
Do they model like the border clashes like
Yeah,
Namonhan?
they do. That is something that they did model, if I remember correctly.
Ooh,
Oh boy, this is gonna get sticky.
it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
I think I'm gonna build some synthetic oil and rubber factories to try to have trading materials to get some more. Oh, Spanish Directory has fallen. The anarchists took over. Hello. This is an interesting thing that's happening there. So, the Carlists are the only fascist branch left, and the anarchists are getting pushed. It looks like this. It looks like the democratic government of Spain is about to commence some final pushes here to win the war, which will be interesting because after the war, Spain can go down a route of we're going to continue helping against fascists or whatever, or we're going to remain very insular. But in this case, they asked for a lot of Soviet aid, which I think ends up meaning that they are going to have to get involved in the war. Some interesting things are happening there.
Yeah, I think it's funny though that we're looking at them and that they're classed as like they're more communist than democratic, but they're not like non-aligned, which is what I thought they would do, given what they did with like Portugal and national Spain or nationalist China and all that.
Well,
So it
they're
seems
not
that
in
they're
a
trying to
faction,
force
though.
them. Yeah, but they're like in the diplomatic ideology wheel that they give to every country. They're pushing them to the communist side of things, probably because they took so much aid. Is that it?
I think so, yeah. When you go democratic, you don't have to take aid from the communists. You don't have to take aid from the from the Soviet Union, you can remain pretty independent and stay pretty democratic. In this case, it seems kind of like a 50-50 government is what they're doing right now. It looks like they might be going down the route of... They haven't selected this yet, but it looks like they could end up going down a route of where they have to select whether they are going to be extremely anti-fascists, or, which I think will side them closer with the communists, or remain independent democratic. I have a new national focus. I just ignored that entirely. What did I get? That was 5 equal peoples. Okay. Bolster nationalism. This is the thing that I wanted, because this will let me start recruiting the bandits once I finish it.
So because I went digging, because this was funny to me, there was a specific Manchukuo 5 races under one union slogan, and the 5 ethnic groups there were the Manchus, Japanese, Han, Mongols, and Koreans, which was modeled after the Republican Chinese one that I was talking about.
Interesting. No mention of the Russians, though. I wonder why they changed it to Russian. I wonder why they changed it to Russian for this. Maybe it's I don't even want to speculate. They just did. Sure. So the Japanese moved all of their guys to the border, and now they're having all of them leave, and they're going back to Japan. I don't want to speculate on why the AI does what it does. It's certainly doing something, though. Oh, yeah, here we go. So, along my, this just happened. Oh, here we go. Mexican Civil War, baby! Yeah! Yeah! Alright, Mexican junta. There is a fascist. It's good old Cedillo in charge of the Mexican junta, trying to take over the government run by Cardenas. We'll see what happens. It's fascist versus, I think they're not considered anything. They're not aligned. That could end up creating an Axis state right to the south of the U.S. And they could end up exporting their brand of fascism, if they win, all the way down to Colombia, basically. And they could end up attacking the U.S. itself. I have seen that, and it is wild.
Man, they got this no historical AI focuses is wild.
Yeah, that's why I like doing this, is because I played so much Hearts of Iron 4 when it released. Back in 2016. I played a lot of it, and I liked it a lot, but I've basically seen everything. It's like, oh yeah, the Germans will reclaim the Reichsland, the Soviets will purge the officers, blah, blah, blah. And then that was basically it. There weren't many options for variations, or things just changing between matches. And so one of the reasons I like the historical focuses being off is because I feel like it's almost more realistic in a way to allow things to go topsy-turvy, just because history isn't defined by things, and it provides several different options no matter how likely they were to happen. And divert machine tooling, what is this? With the railways under our control, we can ensure that some shipments and machine tooling, quote, get lost in our administrative error. Okay.
So you're just scrolling away.
Oh, I start to get events to, like, screw over the Japanese. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of fun, and it doesn't even cost me anything. I just get an extra factory. That's cool.
Yeah, I do appreciate that they the what ifs they put into this game are based on, solid research. Like, it's not something wacky like what if Hitler suddenly found uranium in, like, 31 or something.
I thought you were going to say, like, what if Hitler found Jesus or something?
I mean, okay, we talk about Wolfenstein and the occultism thing and Nazi Germany. That's kind of fun. But, yeah, like, the fact that they've done the research, and that if you look at the Japanese tree, or you look at the nationalist Chinese tree,
Mm-hmm.
these were some of the concerns that the military government was having. Like, what do we do if... Like, how do we crush these communists? And like, anti-communism in Japan was really brutal in the 20s and early 30s, right?
Oh yeah.
And the fact that you have those kind of branches, and I think you have the officer coup as a choice in the Japanese tree now. I think that's great. That's fascinating that they actually include that, because to me, being, a tired academic type who really wants people to be interested in this stuff and read, it makes people think, oh, what the hell is this? And then they'll Google it, like I just did for the Manchurian version of the the Five Peoples thing, and they'll learn something, or they'll be interested in something, or they'll want to do the research. So I appreciate that they went out of their way to actually do this with some, like, it's wacky. Yeah, I get it. It's crazy. It's fun, but there's stuff behind it, which makes me appreciate that they did the work and put in the time, right?
Yeah, yeah. There is I do like all of the. It's a very realistic thing, and with the young officer who's actually in Japan, I think we should talk a little bit about that since that's very related to what happens in China at the time. There were what's interesting about a lot of the about the movements into China from Japan is that a lot of it didn't come directly down from the heads of government. They didn't decide, hey, go do this. It was a lot of independent young Japanese army officers, like like lieutenants, majors, captains, that just decided we're going to take over China, and then they would incite incidents that the Japanese government would have to back them up on, otherwise they would lose some national prestige. Like like, oh, we're sorry that we can't control our own army, and so they would just back them up and basically invade China. So a lot of the earlier parts of the invasions of China weren't really decisions that the government made. It was just forced upon them by unruly army officers.
Yeah, that's in fact, if you go looking at most of the escalations or most of the campaigns in mainland China, they are generally led by overambitious folk on the front who think, "Oh yeah, I can do this. I can win this campaign. I can take this area. I can defeat this thing." And then they go and do it, and then everyone at HQ and logistics is like scrambling to figure out how to deal with this. And that's just the natural culmination of a decade and a half of just crippling any sort of civilian oversight for the military or any sort of civilian control over what's happening overseas. It's amazing the ridiculous situation Japan as a state worked itself into as a result of this.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Got some unassigned Manchu armies here. So these are regular level armies that are considered redemption armies. What is this? So they're 6 battalion cavalry armies, and they looks like pretty hard fighters. That is interesting and good. And I did see that's what I get for recruiting these bandits. But after I recruit all the bandits, I can release them, and I won't lose these units, but I'll get a lot of manpower back. So I'm gonna have to weigh those options.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun having be able to follow the rebel troops that you recruited and see where they go and what they're doing.
Yeah, I might just genuinely dump them back into the pool, because as nice as it is to have these experienced cavalry troops, it'll probably be a lot more beneficial for me to have robust infantry units with artillery that can just sit at the border with Japan. I probably won't need anything in the way of a quick reaction force. I'll need people who can dig a trench and shoot.
Yeah,
Okay.
bodies. We need bodies.
Yeah, I need bodies. Okay, cool. I just got 4 more divisions here. Everything's coming up Manchukuo. Maybe. Things might be coming up Manchukuo. I'm gonna go sit at the Japanese border, actually. I don't trust these guys. Don't trust the Japanese.
You're lucky I've got, what have I got here? 5 divisions on the Mongolian puppet border.
Yeah. Take them out. Oh boy. This is hell of a thing.
I am trying to join the Republican government right now. So
The-
we'll see how that goes.
The Republican government, what does that mean?
The nationalists.
Start a political power struggle with China for national leadership. Well, good luck with that. I think
Oh, I think I overestimated what that was going to do.
I think you might join with the nationalists in either case. I don't know. I don't know if you can start playing as them if you have beefed it. I don't know if that happens there.
If I have to, I'll switch to Chiang Kai-shek. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I left hot joining on, so you should be able to do that. So it looks like the Spanish Civil War is slowing down a bit, as there's probably less units left on
Oh
the
no,
defending sides. Spain is going to remain triumphant, which is wild. Meanwhile, here in Mexico, the Mexican rebels look like they're cutting the country in half. So they could starve out some of the Mexican units in the north, it looks like, if they played this right. But that remains to be seen. But that's some interesting stuff going on over there. Insufficient resources. Yes, I know. Thank you. Recruit the Eastern Bandits. Yes. Okay, I have a lot of bandits now, and I'm going to dump them into my manpower. I actually have a lot of manpower. I don't need these. I don't need these extra units. I can just keep them as cavalry. That's fine.
cool.
Yeah. So we do get to keep our bandit boys. It's interesting. They have the unit type Redemption Army. That's what they say. I think the idea is that they are, because when you have the option to get them to stand down, it says, the former criminals and lowlives have shown that they are willing to sacrifice for their emperor and can now be safely released back into society. So I think it's
these,
they're penal. They're penal battalions basically. They're penal divisions. That's kind of fun.
You see the light of their true anti-Japanese imperialism, pro-independent Manchurian ways, and you know that the love of country and land and people is what is driving them. No longer hunger and want.
It's very well said. That's what I would say. Okay.
Also, I did manage to save myself. I can change my national focus to long-term economic planning, so I'm no longer going to try and take on Chiang Kai-shek.
Wait for that for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you directly fight him in a war. I think it's more like events that show up.
Yeah, we take a vote. People of Shaanxi, you support me? Yes? Okay. People of China?
Oh,
right.
That's a lot of hands. That's a lot of Hans.
Wow. People are getting the good quality content in the stream, right?
Oh, yeah. And we're an hour and 27 minutes in, and people are now tuning out. Decisions available. Release the bandits. No, I don't want to release the bandits.
I'm down a lot of steel, but I have 4 factories. So there's nothing that can be done about this.
You don't happen to have any tungsten, do you?
Let's see. Do I have tungsten? I have 0 of everything.
0 of everything is a bad number to have, I would say, generally speaking.
Yep.
Okay.
So my -6 steel is because I have 0 steel.
5 people armies. Let's go. It's going to increase my recruitable population and going to get some cheap divisions up in here. Zog submits to Italy.
Poor Zog. Well, I don't know anything about Zog. I think he'd be a terrible person.
I have a suspicion that Zog's probably not the nicest guy. I wouldn't trust someone named Zog to be a nice man. No offense if you're listening to this stream and your name is Zog.
And you're Albanian.
And you're Albanian.
It's an interesting language, right?
I don't know Albanian. I would assume so. I'm creating a second army right now based of just my cavalry divisions and placing it under the control of Yoshiko Kawashima, who is a cavalry officer. It kind of... Who is this? Yoshiko Kawashima. The picture kind of looks like... I don't know. It's hard to see here. It's like someone wearing like a kimono. It's definitely a Japanese person, which is the strange thing.
Yoshiko Kawashima was a Qing dynasty princess of Manchu descent. She was raised in Japan and served as a spy for the Japanese Kwantung Army and puppet state of Manchukuo during the Second Sino-Japanese War, sometimes known in fiction under the pseudonym Eastern Mata Hari.
Interesting. Well, there it is right there. She's got a Japanese name, but that's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, that's not a woman, is it? Is that a woman? It is a woman. Interesting. Well, yeah, I have 11 divisions right now being led by this princess, so good for you, Yoshiko. Have fun up there in the harsh Manchurian norths.
Uh,
You sound disappointed.
After the end of the war, November 11th, 45, reported a long sought for beauty in male costume was arrested in Beijing by counterintelligence officers. She was executed.
Oh, well, yeah, that tracks.
That's too bad.
I hate it when I fight against the Japanese and then oh, the Japanese want to send me guns. Sure, sure, Japan. Yeah, send me some guns. Yeah,
We'll put that to good use.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I do hate it when I rebel against the Japanese and then they execute me after the war.
No, the Chinese did because she was working. She was a
Well,
spy for the Japanese.
they and the royal they. Oh, there go the anarchists. The anarchists are gone. So, yeah, looks like this one's pretty wrapped up. Democratic Spain is going to roll into La Coruña. And I think I said that right. I took French, not Spanish. And that war will be wrapped up. Let's go take a look and see how Mexico's doing. Not much has moved, which isn't surprising because they don't have a ton of units down there. And a lot of this is happening in very mountainous terrain, which is for any attackers, as you can imagine. There's pretty steep stat damages that people take when trying to attack into a mountain. So that war isn't going anywhere for a while.
So do I lose out if I switch from civilian economy to a early mobilization?
No, literally you only get good things from that. So,
Okay.
because you spend less consumer goods factories, which are basically just factories that are meant to be producing consumer goods, they're shifted to more things that you want them to do, like building other factories or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So I got ability, got a new tech. That's good. So yeah, I would recommend just switching out of that when you can. You can't always do it. I can't yet.
It had the option, so I thought I would
But
just
yeah,
check to make sure I wasn't going to have any like crazy uprisings or anything.
yeah. The goal is getting to war economy, because that one is just all good with no detractions at all. Republican victory in the Spanish Civil War. Expensive Soviet aid. Second Republic has finally defeated the anarchist and nationalist enemies and secured full control over Spain. Though isolated pockets of nationalist troops continue to wage a guerrilla war that may well hamper the exertion of local Republican control in previous nationalist areas, it is unlikely further coordinated resistance or of any significance will materialize as the nation focuses on rebuilding its war-torn cities and industry. Soviet pressure on the nation is mounting. It remains to be seen whether the democratic Spanish government can remain true to its democratic principles or whether it will simply become an outpost of Moscow's influence in Western Europe. Uh-oh. Guess we'll see what happens. Yeah, anyway, war economy is good. All good, no bad. You build stuff very fast, and you can convert factories back and forth between military and civilian, and you also spend less consumer good factories. I don't recommend total mobilization because it does increase conversion speeds and building speeds of military factories, but it also reduces your recruitable population by 3% as you throw people into factories. They're not able to go fight. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have the option to do that properly, anyways.
A lot of Soviets on my border. Not a huge fan of that.
It's for Japan to deal with, right?
Well, if the Soviets decide to invade me, that'll be a problem. What's this? Pact of Rome formed! Let's go! Okay, let's take a look. Have you formed a new faction? No, you haven't. Oh. Oh. Spain has joined Comintern.
That was fast.
I think that they might automatically happen if they accept too much help from the Soviets. If you look at their government, actually, it's still democratic, but the pie chart is more communist now than democratic.
So when they roll over to a new election, they're going to elect a communist
Yeah.
head?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay. How is the mission to the U.S. going? The U.S. doesn't like me enough yet still. Damn. Am I, Wait, U.S. Improve relations. Yes, continue improving relations with the United States, please. People's Volunteers Division. Oh, this is an elite level 5 veterans unit. Holy crap.
It's coming together. I like this. It's working out.
I'm not saying that I'm able to beat the Japanese, but I'll be able to hold out for a bit at least now. I mean, these are top tier units ready to defend